morning, everyone. A little bit of sunrise from Mt Leura on Victoria's volcanic lakes and plains. Looking in a northeasterly direction now over Lake Corangamite, under a sea of radiation fog. Looking out now over Lake Volcanic. Mount Elephant. Volcanic there in the foreground. Mount Elephant. Kui. West Cloven Hills. And back into the wondrous town of Camperdown. What a wonderful way to start the day. I'll be checking out. There's close to 8 kilometres of walking trails here. Mt Leura and Sugarloaf Complex, looked after by a community committee of management, and just some amazing interpretive signs in spectacular viewpoints. Have a look at that. Absolutely magnificent way to start the day. You can see the trig point marking the top of Mt Leura here. Wonderful viewpoint, and I'm actually going to map a few runs here, because have a look at that running trail connected to the wonderful little town of Camperdown. And I'm going to be have a look at the reverse sunrise here. Is absolutely magnificent too. And we're going to get a little glimpse of Mount Sugarloaf here, and I'll be winding my way up a beautifully crafted track. I don't know if you can make out there, but there's a little bit of a spiral trail going up to Sugarloaf that I can't wait to map. So I'll be doing about a 5 kilometre run, which I'm going to map and put up on the Volcanic Lakes and Plains website. Mark from Port Campbell Visitor Information Centre here, and I've come up here. Have a look at that sunrise. We've got a bit of moonset happening, and you can pick up one of these trail maps from Camperdown Courthouse Information and Arts, or from Port Campbell Visitor Information Centre. But certainly if you're in Camperdown, open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. and you can be out here exploring here. I can't wait to check out the new interpretive signs. Have a look at this one. So much information about lava. Fantastic visage pointing out all the little volcanic peaks on this incredible part of Victoria. And Camperdown, cluster of lakes around Lake Corangamite, Victoria's largest natural inland lake. You've got Lake Purrumbete in a sea of mist there, and Mount Leura sticking out above it. And of course you've got Lake Bullenmeroi and Lake Notuck also on the outskirts of town. You can visit walking, riding a bike, or drive yourself out there. Just a wonderful little precinct. Have a look at this for a place to spend sunrise. It's accommodation options, some great pubs and cafes, and wonderful place to spend time. Camperdown Courthouse Information and Arts is a hub of local arts community. 12 exhibitions a year. 12 exhibitions a year. I don't mind a glass of champagne, and that to me says there's 12 opening nights a year. So if you're in Camperdown, make sure you check out one of their exhibitions. And one of their exhibitions at the moment is a colleague of mine, Patrick Caruana. He's got some monochrome photographic exhibition. Officers, so wonderful to see. All talents are respected. You know, some great community art scenes in Terang. as I've said, certainly in Camperdown. Wonderful theatre, the Theatre Royale. We've just missed an opportunity, unfortunately a cancelled opportunity to see Ausact at the wonderful Camperdown Botanical Gardens. Very active Camperdown Theatre Company. Those of you that saw Backroads would have seen the theatre company. The Lakes and Craters Band. We've got a wonderful collective called Universal as well, that regularly plays in the area, showcasing local talent and a great multi-generational group celebrating music in Camperdown. We've got mandolin makers and guitar makers, and local crafts certainly being exhibited at Camperdown Courthouse Information and Arts. Like I said, you can pick up a Mt Leura walking trail map there, or if you're coming up from the coast, you can grab one from Port Campbell at Port Campbell Visitor Information Centre. Better introduce myself, Mark from Port Campbell Visitor Information Centre here. Having a little bit of an early morning in Camperdown this morning, and magnificent short drive up from the coast, and just a different world away. You know, for me, we're looking at, you know, probably the driest you're ever going to see this area. You can see another linking trail down here on the way up to Mt Leura. That's the Banksia Trail. You see now as the sun lights up Lake Kalangulak and the mist clears, you can see Mount Elephant behind it. Open days every Sunday. Look, if you're into trail running, what I'll point out to you, you've got the Princess Highway down there. You've also got a rail line to Melbourne, and it's around 8 kilometres of trails up around Mount Leura. We've got a local ultra running community that often comes and trains up here. You've also got volcanic peaks like Mt Leura. And Mount Elephant nearby that you could run up. I'd like to pay my respects to the Giray Wurrung people of Eastern Maar Nation. I'd like to pay my respects to the Leura Gunditj people of Eastern Maar Nation and the Jagud Wurrung people of Eastern Maar Nation. As we look out, I'd like to acknowledge their connection to this incredible part of country and acknowledge a people that have lived through active volcanics in this region 16 to 18,000 years ago, whose language reflects the dynamism of this landscape. As I stand here on Mt Leura, as I look out over a landscape where the current caretakers, Mt Leura and Sugarloaf Committee of Management, done a wonderful job of revegetating this area. We're going to go up and have a little bit of a look at a sign. Thanks for hanging with me. The only concentration of lakes I've seen anywhere else recently is the Lakes District around Ambleside and Keswick in England. And if you can picture and bear with me, a little bit of rain. We've got the largest dry stone wall network in Australia. And look at some of those Banksias. You can see why it's called the Banksia Trail. Absolutely magnificent. Leave a comment, say hello, ask a question. Mark from Port Campbell Visitor Information Centre, experiencing a little bit of wonder north of the coast this morning. We're getting some footage, mapping a run, and here we are, Friends of the Forgotten Woodlands. Look that up. It's connections to the landscape artist Eugene von Gerard that lovingly painted some landscapes in this area with such detail that the individual species can be identified, and wonderful communities like the community of Camperdown working together to propagate, keep local provenance of seed, and replant this area. As I said, with respect to the Leura Gunditj and Jaga Wurrung peoples of Eastern Maar Nation. And we haven't even talked about the clock tower. Certainly a lot going on. If you're considering coming down and visiting Victoria's volcanic lakes and plains, base yourself in a town completely surrounded by lakes. Well-stocked fishing lakes, I might add. Vintage charm, lots of op shops, antique shops, and just a sense of space. So I stand here atop Mt Leura. A few people are starting to walk their dogs on leads in this area, and I'm about to go and take a little bit of a run around Mount Sugarloaf here. As I said, I've got my handy little trail map, but really well signposted trails, and we've given you a look at 2 signs, but they've just had quite a few new signs put in, so credit to the committee. And we're going to have a little bit of a peek at Camperdown. Beautiful Gothic clock tower and a place I hope you can all see. Come and take a walk up here at sunrise like I have. You just see we're starting to get reflections now. You couldn't even make out Lake Kalangulak this morning. So Lake Kalangulak's out near Camperdown Race Course, much larger. Lake Karangamite out towards the rising sun there. You've got Lake Purrumbee with Mount Portland just poking up beyond it. Really well-stocked fisheries. Lake Bullamerrai out of view at this point, and Lake Notak. Hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you're watching from. Mark from Port Campbell Visitor Information Centre. Having a wonderful morning in Camperdown on Victoria's volcanic lakes and plains. Adios, everyone.